What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the True Form podcast. Today's episode, you just got me. We're wrapping up the last quite a few episodes and doing a Q&A. Moving forwards, I am going to be doing one of these a month or every 5 weeks because there's a lot of good lessons within each episode from all the guests I'm getting on, and I'm guilty of this as well. You listen to a podcast, you're listening along, you're like, yes, that's a good point, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, and then the episode ends, and then you just move on with your life and forget all about the episode. So the idea of this is that I give you those lessons again so you can start to implement them and live a long, healthy, and happy life. But I'm also going to add these into the True Form protocol. What's that? Some of you are already in there. At the moment, the True Form protocol is a workout program designed from all the information I've got from the guests, the experts around exercise, movement, how to get the most out of the workouts in the time you've got, all that sort of stuff. I actually learn all that and then implement it with my clients, see what works, what doesn't, and then put it into the workout program that you can get access to. So it's all on the app. You can track, there's exercise demo videos of me doing them all, so you never get lost. It's a bit of a community base on the app as well, so you can see other people smashing it out. So if you'd like that, plus all the lessons that we learn from each episode, I'm going to put that into a members portal where you can log in, and I'm going to put them into practical things that you can do, whether it's mindset, improving your health, eating right, all the above, everything to help you live a long, healthy, happy life. All the lessons are going to be in the members area. You log in, you do the lesson, and I'll give you practical things that will help you start implementing those lessons, not just listen along and then forget about it. So if that sounds good, first link in the show notes will take you there. I'll open it up soon. Only going to open it up to a small amount of people. At the moment, it's just me doing this, so I can't have a huge amount of people join in. So it's probably just going to be 10 to 20 people to start with. Once it's running smoothly and you guys are learning all the lessons properly, I'll add more people in there. But sounds good to you, jump on the link, True Form Protocol. It's there. All right. I'll stop talking. Let's get into the lessons from the podcast. So I'm going to go back in time, and then we'll move all the way forwards to the episode that dropped last week. So going back to episode 225, The Power of Mindset and Movement with Matt Wells. So Matt is a PT from New Zealand, absolutely killing it. And it was a good episode because I learned a lot, and I know you guys learned a lot because it was one of the most popular episodes. I think it was the most popular episode on this whole list. So the lessons learnt, the biggest lesson I learnt from Matt, I've been implementing into my own program and with my clients as well, and that's hiding the vegetables. So we all know this as kids. Our parents would hide the vegetables in food, so we would eat the vegetables, so they'd blend them up, hide them, and we'd eat them, get all the nutrients, all the benefits from those vegetables without even knowing it. Same goes with your workouts. So there's exercises, mobility, stretches, whatever you don't like doing, you hide them in your workout. So again, I've used that into the True Form protocol, the workout program that, again, you can have access to. It's just a way of getting all those little things in there that you hate doing, so you just hide them in there. So you double them up with other exercises, you put them first in your warm-up, so you don't even really notice that you're doing them. There's little ways that you can sort of hide those vegetables, so the things that you hate doing in your workouts. And I just thought that was a good way of putting it. And again, like I said, I've been implementing it with myself. I've been seeing some great results, and my clients have as well. So whatever exercises you don't like doing, hide them in there. Either put them in the warm-up, put them in there first, or just double them up with an exercise you actually love doing, because you do the exercise you love, then you do the exercise you hate, and then at least it gives you that little bit more oomph to get back into the exercise you love doing. Good way of doing it. Thanks, Matt. Second lesson is the rule of thirds. This is just more of a mindset philosophy around training, and something I have to remind myself all the time. So Matt explains the rule of thirds as in a third of the time, the workouts are going to be absolutely shit. You're going to feel like shit. You're not going to be performing well. You don't want to be there. Third of the time. The other third, it's going to be moderate. You're going to be like, yeah, this is feeling all right. I'm doing all right. Lifts are moving in the right direction. I kind of want to be here. It's feeling good. Other third is you're absolutely killing it. You look in the mirror and you're like, what the hell is this body? I feel amazing. I'm looking good. This is amazing. Why isn't everybody training? Why doesn't everybody do this? And then you're back to the first third. So again, and that's so true. And I think a lot of people forget that. And that's where that, and we talk about this in the episode, the discipline and motivation. When the training feels like shit, you don't want to be there, all that sort of stuff, that's when the discipline and that routine of just getting into the gym, doing what you need to, and eventually you're going to get back to that point where it feels amazing, you're killing it, and you're absolutely loving life, and that's when motivation's high. So it's almost like as you go through the rule of thirds, the time periods, and it could last months, it could be weeks, it could be days. Everybody's a little bit different. And sometimes it might be 3 days, and then the next time it comes around, it might be 3 months, and you're absolutely just grinding for 3 months, feeling like shit. And you're like, is this ever going to end? And it does end, and you will feel good eventually. So stick with it. Don't rely on motivation. It's discipline and building good habits. Okay, all right. Let's go on to the next one. Sorry for everybody listening along. I'm just sipping on my tea. Episode 226 with 30, breaking the cycle. So this was a good conversation. 30 and I were playing pool as we had this conversation. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening along, the audio is not great, but still worth a listen. Lessons I learnt from 30. This one actually pops up quite a lot in all these episodes. Writing things down, using a pen and paper and actually writing things down. I think that's just massively overlooked and no one does it anymore. But it comes up so many times within this podcast with all my guests. So writing things down. But Ferdy would actually write them down and stick them everywhere. So all around his room, whatever he wanted to achieve and how he had to do it, it was stuck on the wall. So he would see it all the time. Like he was trying to lose, I think at one point he lost like 40 kilos and again, fighting drug addictions, all that sort of stuff as well, all at the same time. You know, most of us just struggle to say no to the piece of cake or a cookie or something like that. He's saying no to all of that, plus drugs. Again, mind-blowing the dedication he had to it, but he'd write down, like, don't you even, insert swear word, don't eat this cookie or whatever, or stick to your effing diet and put that on the fridge. So every time he went to the fridge, there's a big F word staring at him to not eat or, just stick to the food that he has to eat, all that sort of stuff. So writing it down and just having it right in your face, that was a good point. And like really swearing at yourself, like giving it to yourself, like be disciplined, swear at yourself, write it down, put it on a wall, fridge, wherever you're going to, you need that motivation to stop you doing the bad habits, put it there so you can see it. I think that was a great point. This isn't really a lesson, but I just want to put it in there. Whenever I'm feeling like I'm not doing the right, not succeeding, this is I'm feeling sorry for myself. This is hard. I don't want to be doing this. Everybody else is succeeding and I'm failing, all that sort of stuff. I just remember the conversation. I remember Ferdy's, what he's had to do to get to where he is now. And what I'm going through is effing nothing compared to what he was doing or has done. So I think it's just, again, comparison. Like you look at some people and you think you're absolutely at the bottom of the run and you're worthless. But you look at other people like Ferdy and like, holy shit, like what he's done and what he had to sacrifice. He literally had to basically cut himself off from like the last, 35 years of his life so he could change. So, and that's everybody, all his relationships, everything. He had to cut it all off so he could start changing. And that's again, that is very hard to do, very uncomfortable. You have to go into a very dark mindset, good mindset, everything in between. So whenever I feel like I'm struggling, I just remember what Ferdy's been through and I'm like, fuck, if he's done that, I can do this podcasting thing or life thing. So again, just good frame of mind to go back and have a listen to that episode. Again, big thanks, Ferdy, for coming on. I know it wasn't easy for him to come on the podcast and talk about his story, but he did. So appreciate that, and I appreciate you. All right. I'm not going over every episode, so we're going to jump to episode 228 with Ireland Horvat, pickleball. So as you know, you should know, pickleball is getting bigger and bigger, and there was the World Tournament, I think it was, here in Melbourne. I tried to catch up with Ireland when she was here, but just times didn't mix, and she was super busy with the tournament. So I got it on Zoom after it. She'd had a little bit of a holiday here in Australia, and I just liked Ireland's story because she's just been able to turn something she's passionate about into a career, and it's just very inspiring to see people do that and chasing a passion rather than just doing what they feel like they should be doing, like, you know, working a 9 to 5, doing this, earning the money, going home, weekend, next and next. So lessons learnt. In the episode, Ireland was telling her story and how she got to where she was, and she's just like, I turned around and I just looked at the last couple of years and I was just like, what the hell is my life? In a good way. So I feel like if you can get to that point, your heart is just full of energy, good energy, and you just want to give it to everybody. And it just shows as well. So I feel like I'm doing that now with the podcast. Like all the work I've been doing over the last couple of years, I can now look back and then I'm like getting the guests on that I'm getting on, and I'm just like, far out. What is my life? Just the opportunity to talk to some of the people that I talk to is absolutely amazing. And it just, again, like you can use Ireland's story just for inspiration, just to start chasing that passion, find what you're passionate about and just start chasing it and work hard. I think that was my next lesson learnt from Ireland. Yep. So it just goes to show, like, when you find a passion, you follow it. And she goes over this in there as well. Like, don't be afraid to know nothing and ask a lot of questions and ask for help along that journey. The more you ask for help, the more people you get introduced to, and the more things you'll learn, and it just adds up and adds up and adds up. And again, once you're at that top, like what it feels like the top, you can look back and go, what the hell is my life? But you only get there by asking for help and getting help from other people. So along the way, appreciate everybody that's helping you, and just don't be afraid to ask for help. Is the lesson learnt there. All right, where are we at? Episode 229, The Art of Overcoming Fear, Finding Purpose, and Truly Living. So this was with Ryan. A lot of you reached out and said, like, who's this guy? His name's not anywhere. I didn't introduce him. Just with Ryan's work, I couldn't really... I've had guests on before that work in certain industries, and I've put their name on the podcast and done like the intro for the podcast with their name and all that sort of stuff. And because of their work, I've had to take it down. And I didn't want this episode to fall into that category where I've had to take it down because it was such a good conversation. So I just removed Ryan's name and his, I guess, identity from the episode. But that doesn't mean it's not worth listening to. Again, amazing story from such a young person. And I wanted to find out how I think Ryan's 26, sorry Ryan if I get that wrong, but how a 26-year-old can think the way Ryan thinks. Because a lot of us strive to find that motivation, that clarity of mind. The way Ryan thinks about opportunities in business, life, relationships, all that sort of stuff is what a lot of us are trying to find. And Ryan's, I wouldn't say it, and he wouldn't say it as well. Like, he hasn't found it and he's still working on it, but feels like he's a lot further along than most people. So for somebody so young to find that mindset is very inspiring, and I wanted to find out how he's actually got there. So it's definitely worth a listen. And one of the main things, I think Ryan is who he is today and how he's got the mindset he has and how he's able to achieve so much is because he writes things down. Pretty much every day since I think he was 11 or 12, maybe even 10, he's been writing stuff down, just journaling. It's not gratitude journaling, anything like that. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't, but some days he'd just write his thoughts out. He'd look around and write things about what's around the room, but just whatever it was. Like, I did make a note there. After we finished recording, Ryan read me a poem about just writing on a blank piece of paper, and it just like gave me goosebumps. It gave me chills. Like, here's this 26-year-old writing a poem about a piece of paper, writing on a blank piece of paper. Like, the words he uses, the expressions he uses, and again, all that comes down to him writing in a journal just about anything every single day for over a decade. And that just goes to show just why you should be writing in a book. It doesn't have to be a fancy journal. He goes over that in the episode. Like, people get so caught up, and it has to be this good-looking journal. It has to be this leather thing. It has to be pretty. It has to be structured. But it doesn't. You just need to start writing anything. And you just get better and better with time, as Ryan explains. Like, and like the poem about a blank piece of paper, writing on a blank piece of paper. I'll try and get the poem and add it in the show notes from him. It's again, blew my mind. So yeah, just I can't emphasize that enough, that you should just be journaling, writing in. Like, I've started doing it. It's quite nice. Sometimes it's just a dot point of shit I need to get done the next day, and I don't really care. It doesn't matter. This is your time to just write whatever you want on that piece of paper, but just do it every single day. Again, for me, I don't think it has to be morning or night. Just whenever you can fit it in, 5 minutes, start writing things down. Again, checklist, mindset, thoughts, goals, whatever it needs to be, just start writing in a piece of paper every single day for the rest of your life. It'll make a huge difference. All right, episode 230. Healing your gut, balance your hormones, and sustainable weight loss with Ashleigh Jade. Great episode. I have got this in big, bold writing in my notes and things I need to do, and that is to get a blood test. Ashleigh, I'm sorry, I will get there. And I'm actually going to make an episode with myself and another listener that is exactly the same age as me. She's exercises, she's healthy living. So I won't use the name yet, but this listener is going to get her bloods done. I'm going to get my bloods done. It's going to be interesting to see the difference between our bloods, again, but just male to female. We're the same age. We live a similar lifestyle. And we're going to go over that in an episode with Ashleigh, and she's going to go through the bloods, talk about them, what we need to do, why we need to do it, why this results like that, all that sort of stuff. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but yeah, the importance of getting your bloods done, because again, you could be eating all the right things, and this actually comes up in one of the listener questions later on. You could be doing all the right things, but you could be low in something and you just don't know. Like, how do you know if your, vitamin C is low? It could be on the lower end, but if it's a little bit higher, you'd be feeling a lot better, but you just don't know. So blood test is going to show you that. So that is why it is in big, bold letters in my notes, because I am going to get it done. And in the episode, Ashleigh recommends getting it done, say, quarterly, and not when you're sick. A lot of us get blood tests done when you're sick. So you're getting a snapshot of, I guess, your bloods and what's happening in your body at your low point, where you should be getting at your high point when you're feeling healthy, you're feeling good, everything's right. Get it then, because then you've got something to compare those low and high points to, and not just those low points. Because if you're comparing all your bloods and what you're eating, all that sort of stuff, to when you're sick, it's not really a higher bar you're setting for yourself. So make sure you're getting your bloods done when you feel good and you're absolutely killing it, so you've got that higher bar, that high standard, so you can hold yourself at those standards and keep reaching further and keep improving. So another one, as you all know, I ask all my coaching guests, what's more important, sleep, exercise, or nutrition, or what should people start with? If they had to start with one and they couldn't do all three, what's the most important thing? And Ashleigh said sleep. Again, sleep is very important, and I've sort of changed my mind. I don't know. I still think exercise is where everybody should start, just because, again, it's a little bit more tangible than getting sleep results. I'll talk about sort of supplements and that sort of stuff in the next one, but just tracking your sleep as well is very important. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Episode 231, how to use your HRV to reduce stress, optimize health, and live longer with Dr. Torkil. This is a great episode. I used to wear a Whoop band. It's a wearable. It's meant to be one of the best. I wore it for about 2 years, and I was just wearing it. I didn't know, there's this thing called the HRV on there. I'm like, it's a good score today. That's great. It wasn't yesterday. What does that mean? So after a while, you're just like, well, what am I wearing this for? Does it matter? So I just took it off, and I hadn't been wearing it for probably 2 or 3 years. So after the conversation, literally the next day, I went out and got a wearable so I could start tracking my HRV. As Dr. Torkil explains in the episode, we've got senses, we can feel things, we can see things, we can smell things, taste, all that sort of stuff, but we haven't got internal senses to see what is going on. And your HRV is very important. That's basically how stressed your body is. So if you can sense your stress, you can improve not only your health, your wellness, but again, how long you're going to live for, how well you think, how you operate in day to day, just the person you are. If you're a stressed person all the time, it shows, and people will just be more inclined to not want to be around you because you're just that person's always stressed and highly strung, and you just give off bad energy. But if you're calm, collected, and you're just a nicer person to be around, and you can actually use HRV to track that so you can become a better person, not just to improve your health and fitness and live longer. So strongly recommend using tracking your HRV to just start improving these things. Again, if you want to learn how to do that, it's going to be in the True Form protocol. So make sure you follow the links, sign up for the True Form protocol, because I want you all to be improving your health and fitness, living a long, healthy, happy life. And this is one of the most important things you can do to start sensing your insides. Like I was just saying before, I've said on this podcast before that supplements, how do you actually know if supplements are working? In the past, I've just said, see how you feel. If you feel better, if you're performing better, it's probably working, but probably working. I don't know if it's actually working, but with HRV, you can actually see if those supplements are working for you or they're not working for you. So they could be a waste of time. I've been trying this new sleep supplement, and I can literally see it's improving my sleep by 20%. It's absolutely crazy. And I'm feeling better during the day, but I wouldn't have actually known if it was actually working or not, or that well. 20% is huge to improve my sleep. So I can actually see that it's doing it. Again, the placebo effect of supplements is sometimes just as effective as the actual supplement. So you could take a supplement and go, yeah, I'm feeling great, this is awesome, but it's not actually doing anything within your body. It's just that placebo of you taking that supplement, where tracking things like HRV, sleep, heart rates, all that sort of stuff, like your performance in the gym, actually getting data that you can use to put against that supplement or against that new food that you're eating or diet, or insert whatever you're trying to change. Change with data is good because you know if it's working or not. So again, you can see that I'm very passionate about you living a long, healthy, happy life by tracking your HRV. Again, this is going to be in the True Form protocol, so make sure you get in there. I don't think I gave a price. It's only going to be $44 a month, and you're going to get all that workout program, lessons on how to use HRV. Because again, Dr. Torkil's written a book, he's been on the podcast, all that sort of stuff, and I've learned everything I need to, and then I implement it with my clients, and then see what works, what doesn't, and then give that lesson to you through the protocol. Sweet deal. Very, very excited for that. All right. So obviously the lesson learned is get a wearable, track your HRV, and start learning about what affects your HRV and all that sort of stuff. Episode 232 with Johnny. Johnny, I've known Johnny pretty much since I moved to Melbourne, and I've wanted to get him on the podcast for a long time. Like, first conversation I had with Johnny, I'm just like, fuck, this guy gets it. He's just on a whole nother level. The way he thinks, the way he talks, the way he trains, not only himself, but his clients. So I was actually working in a gym where, like a PT gym. So I'd have my PT client, Johnny would have his, and we'd be in the same room. So I could actually see how he was training his clients. And I absolutely love watching PTs train their clients. You learn so much. So if you're in a gym, watch the PTs, like watch the exercise, watch how they interact with their clients, all that sort of stuff. You can learn so much from that. And I learned so much from Johnny. So Johnny, thanks just for teaching me how to be a better PT, but thanks again for coming on the podcast. And the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway from that episode, like, again, great episode, great conversation, a lot of insights. But the biggest thing, I can't stress this enough, because again, another guest talks about this as well, is book something in, like book an event in, just outside your comfort zone. If you've never run a race, or you don't even run, don't go and book an ultra marathon, because you're probably going to break yourself and cause yourself a lot of big injuries. So just a 5K. If you've never run before, you can definitely do a 5K. Just book it in 6 months, start training, and just go for it. The importance of booking something in, it doesn't even have to be a running race, but just whatever you're trying to achieve, like whether it's mindset, business, could be, I don't know, physique, could be athletics, whatever it is, find an event, book something in, and just do the best you can to absolutely kill that event. Don't worry about everybody else. Just do the best you can. Implement changes, start doing things, and you will get there. Like Johnny talks about, and I think Johnny's example of this is the best. Like, he's never been a runner, never done anything like that. Books in, does all the training, and a week out gets an injury and can't do the race. So like, that is hard to come back from, but he books in again and smashes the race. So again, if you need some inspiration, listen to that episode. But I can't stress that enough. Like, actually having a goal and booking something in that aligns with that goal is, I think, one of the most powerful things you can do to get some real change out of your life and what you're trying to achieve. So can't stress that enough. Find something that aligns with your goals, book an event in, and start training for it. It will change your life. Episode 234. What is fitness? Coaching, career advice with Tom Rock. Great episode. So I met Tom at the Fitness Expo, and like I've said, I'm not going to bang on about this, but I'm confused about what fitness is, because again, it's just a word that's thrown around a lot to describe a lot of different things, and that's good, because it does mean it means something different to everybody, and we dive into that in that episode. 1 second. So, biggest takeaway from that episode with Tom was that health, well-being, fitness, improving yourself is a skill that you need to work on like any other. So, like eating, just the act of eating good food is a skill that you need to learn. You need to learn where to buy the good food. You need to learn all the foods to avoid in the supermarket. So you need to learn what flavors go together to make a good, tasty meal, nutritious as well. But then also you need to learn how to prep it. You need to learn how to chop. You need to learn how to wash the veggies, cook the veggies, like what order the vegetables go in, all that sort of stuff. But then sometimes you also need to learn how to eat, like slowly, mindfully, without a TV, without distractions, around a dinner table, talking to other people, taking your time. Like, that is a journey and a skill. People just like eating, everybody eats. Everybody is going to be eating food, but learning the skill of actually eating properly and cooking food, sourcing good food, cooking to a recipe. I hate recipes. I don't cook to a recipe. But again, like, I've learnt that. I've been doing this long enough and I've learnt that skill. I just know what foods work good together. I know what spices go together, but it's just a skill I've learnt over my whole lifetime. So I don't need to follow a recipe. So again, don't see, and you can insert that with fitness. business, and we talk about that in the podcast. Like, you can literally insert that once you understand things are a skill that you need to learn, although it's not like learning how to play a sport, it is a life skill that you need to learn. So, and I think a lot of people forget that, especially when it comes to food and diets and nutrition, all that sort of stuff. That is a skill that you need to learn. Sorry, I had one more. Where did Tom's episode go? Workout intent. So we sort of got into a conversation in the episode about online programs. So people download online programs all the time. Influencers have their own programs, but people don't get results from them. And we're talking about why. And it's because a lot of people don't know how to work out with intent, or what the intent of the actual program is. So again, the True Form Protocol, I give an outline of what the intent is and what you should be getting out of each workout, out of each block, out of each phase, all that sort of stuff. So I try and be as transparent as possible so you know what to expect, how hard to push, what's coming up, and how you should feel, all that sort of stuff. So that's, like, again, lesson I've learned from a guest to implement into the workout program. It's a good program. You guys should be on it. But again, like, a lot of people will just download a program and then just go in and casually go through it and this and that. And it's like, I didn't get results from that workout program, even though the influencer is absolutely ripped, or he's a machine in that field of sport, or whatever the program is that he wrote or she wrote. But again, it's just the intent that people don't realize that you have to work out to, because like, you might be following a HIIT program. If you've never done HIIT before, the intensity that you need to bring to a workout, you're probably not going to learn on your own. You're going to learn working with a PT or a coach or somebody that's going to push you to your absolute limit. When high intensity interval training is at the highest limit. Again, most people don't know what their highest limit is without a little bit of push and guidance from a trainer or a PT. But again, you can't bring that intensity into a stretching or flexibility program that you got online. So again, it's that learning what the intent, like a lot of the time, and again, this is a listener question. I've been carrying on, so I'll try and wrap this up in a little bit. A lot of people say, how do I stretch? Like, what intensity do I stretch at? And just even stretching, people don't understand the intensity of stretching. So, like, again, that's where a PT or a coach, being in person with somebody, is quite beneficial to learn that intensity. And again, like, I try and convey this in most of my demo videos on the app, and how it should feel and what intensity and all that sort of stuff. When I record a video on the app, I'm trying to do it as if you're there with me in person, and I'm coaching you in person. So that's what I try and do on my videos. But again, it's sometimes even that is a little bit lost on people that are learning about all this. So that's where in person might be a good benefit for people that are just starting out in their health and fitness journey, so they can understand the intention and the intent of the workout program. Whew, big one. All right, episode 236. How comedy can build confidence, crush fear, and help you find your voice, with Jordana. Great episode. I obviously had a lot of fun doing this episode. Jordana told me how to take situations that stress me out, annoy me, and turn it into something that is funny and enjoyable. So if you can do that with every situation within your life, there's not going to be anything that upsets you or gets you down or anything like that. So strongly recommend having a listen to that episode. We actually go through on how to do this. Like, literally Jordana asked me, like, what situation stresses me out? She was writing it out, so you can learn exactly how to do it. Excuse me. And how to write out a joke about a thing that actually stresses you out. So very useful episode. So go back and have a listen to that. And my note is from that is just have fun and look for the humor in everything you do. And it's just, again, like, it's just a good way of living life. You're going to be a whole lot less stressed. you're going to be a happier person, a nicer person. People are going to want to hang out with you more because you're not so negative, you're not so down. When you turn that around and you see the positive and the fun things in everything, people are like, hell yeah, and want to be around you. So if you feel like you do that, or you get in negative moods and you want to improve that, listen to that episode, go through the steps again, or join the True Form protocol. So I'll give you the steps on exactly what you need to do so you can do that and live a happy, fun, enjoyable life and have people around you that also doing the same thing as well. All right, last one of the episode recaps. Episode 238, most recent one, health, wealthy, and longevity. This was with Jon Sabes. Amazing episode. Just like John and I talked before and after the episode. Obviously, it was on Zoom. Really cool guy, but just has done so much, but just really down to earth as well. I can't stress this enough. Like, I'd strongly recommend getting his book. Just self-help books, like I say in his episode, self-help books are generally written from a place of success. Like, this person's done all this, they're successful. Like, I'm up here, learn from my steps, and this is how you're going to, like, mindset, business, all that sort of stuff. And that is a good thing. Like, you definitely should be listening and learning from people that have achieved those things. But John's book comes from a place of, especially the longevity side of it, just a place of, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain. I wish I had the words. I need to start writing more like Ryan so I can have a better vocabulary for things like this. But John started writing this book. His mum got cancer and passed away. Like, in that time, he changed his mind on what the book wanted to be. And it really comes through. Like, in the episode, he even says his mum refused cancer treatments because she'd lived her life. She's like, my life has been a dream and I'm going to live it out. And everybody should have that. Everybody should get to the end of their life and go, my life has been an absolute dream. It's been amazing. I've had enough. Like, if you can get to that point, I think you've lived a long, healthy and happy life. So again, and then like John sort of rewrote his book with that in mind, and it comes through. Like, the place it comes through is from his heart, not from his success he's made. And he's very successful in business, in life. He's made a lot of money. He's very financially successful, but the place it comes from is not that, although he has achieved that. So not only you're learning from somebody that's achieved it, but it's coming from the heart as well. So again, great book. Biggest takeaway is the leverage anchors that he talks about. I've heard of leverage anchors a lot. Alex Hormozi I listen to a lot of his stuff, and again, very successful person financially, like very successful. He started in gyms and then he's moved into like crazy things that I couldn't even think of possibly getting into. So of course I'm going to listen to Alex Hormozi's advice and take it and use it and implement it. And Alex always talks about leverage anchors, but I just didn't understand, like, I can understand a leverage, like using time as leverage, all that sort of stuff. He'd say it and I'm like, yeah, it sort of makes sense. I think I understand it. But then when I read it in John's book, again, I don't know if it was just my mindset and where John was coming from with the book, understanding leverage and leverage anchors after that book, I just went, of course. And then obviously I got to speak to John about it in the podcast, and it just made so much more sense. So everything you are doing is leverage to either, a good or a bad, or improving your health, not improving. And once you understand that, it just changes your mindset on everything you start doing. I'm not really going to give it justice of trying to explain it now. So either listen to the episode or get John's book and start to learn about every action that you are doing is a leverage you are choosing. Like, you choose your leverage and your time and what you put in your mouth, the time you spend in the gym, everything is a leverage, and it's levering in one way or the other. Again, listen to the episode, start to understand leverage anchors and what you're leveraging in your own life. I can't stress that enough, because once you do, It's going to completely change your mindset, and you will start improving your health, wellness, and living a long, healthy, and happy life. Okay, let's get into the questions. Big thanks to everybody that submitted one. If you do want to ask a question for one of these episodes, best place to find me is probably Instagram and ask your questions there. I'm usually putting up a question box as these episodes roll around. Or if you're on the email list, 2 Minute Tuesday, every Tuesday I'll send out some info about how to live a long, healthy, happy life. You can literally reply to those emails. So if I send out 2 Minute Tuesday about a certain topic and you've got a question on that topic, you can literally hit reply and it's me on the other end, not some weird chat bot or anything like that. So you can ask them there. All right, I'm just going to jump forwards to the second question because it's been coming up a lot and I just want to have a massive rant before I will get into the rest of the questions. All right, so the first one, do you do all the editing for the podcast or do you have some help behind the scenes? This question has come up so much over the last couple of months. As this podcast starts to grow more and more, obviously I'm posting more and more about it and everybody's like, oh, do you use AI? Do you have help? Like I do everything. So I edit all the content, the reels, the emails, the shorts, everything I do. I think it's coming up more and more because people see podcasts as something that you just want to grow, make money. But I do this because I enjoy it. And again, I want to get the lessons from the guests I get on the episode. I want to get them on the podcast so I can learn from them. And me learning takes a long time. Those that know me, I am a slow learner. So I get to have a chat, like let's say Jon, who was just on the podcast. I read his book, I talked to him, and then I edit through the podcast. So I get to go back over the podcast at least 2 or 3 times. Like I'll go through, do the edit, and then I'll go through, do the final sort of watch through, make sure everything's right. And then I go through and make the reels from it. So I get to go over it several times to learn these topics. And like that's why I do this podcast, so I can learn these things from the guests. I don't do it to, make all this crazy money and become, the next Joe Rogan and have thousands of listeners, sponsors, money. I do this so I can learn to improve my life. The lessons I'm learning from all the guests I get on the episodes are improving every other aspect of my life. So I'm actually making more money in my other business, like personal training business, the online business, like the coaching business. And I'm like now more than ever, my quality of life is better because I'm learning all these lessons. So I'm more than happy to dedicate hours every single week to get that benefit from the people coming on the podcast. So yeah, for me, again, leverage, as I was just talking about from Jon's episode, leverages. I'm happy to use this time. This time is a leverage for me to improve every other aspect of my life. And it is paying off massively. Again, in every aspect, mindset, money, physique, fitness, health, nutrition, all that sort of stuff. All the stuff I'm learning is improving every aspect of my life. So again, I love this shit. I want to live a long, healthy, happy life. So I'm more than happy to spend time on each guest, each episode, editing, going over, all that sort of stuff. So I learn from myself. Again, that's why I want to put it into the protocol. So you guys don't have to go over it 3 or 4 times. You can just jump in the protocol, get the lessons and start improving your life. And I love this and I want you guys to love it as well and improve your life. So, and not only that, I think it's more respectful for the guests coming on the podcast if I edit the content. So for example, if you don't know, there's different AI generators out there. So I can literally get this whole YouTube video, put it into an AI generator and it pops out reels. It could pop out 30 different reels, but they're pretty bad. Most of the time they don't make sense. They clip things in a nonsensical way, like the conversation doesn't really flow. It's almost like it just picks up buzzwords and puts buzzwords into a reel and does that 30 times. Where if you watch the reels I make, I try and make it So it's a journey. So you're learning from what the guest says, but it makes sense as well. So I think it's just more respectful for me to take the time and effort to make the reels more beneficial for you watching and listening. That's my sense of it anyway. So sorry for the rants. I've just been getting this question a whole lot, and like, why don't you just streamline everything and you can grow more, faster, more guests, more money, more sponsors, all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, I don't need it. I just want the information from the guests to improve every other aspect of my life. That's what I'm doing this for. So next time that comes up, this is where I'm going to send you. All right, let's get into the actual questions. Again, apologies for the rant. Just had to happen. All right. So my sister recently found out her iron levels are very low, like 6, when they are normally between a range of 41 to 400. I told her to check over past episodes. Now with the True Form protocol, she won't have to. She can just go straight in and find the lesson to help this. I'm pumping it up today. And basically, what should someone do to when their iron is low? What should they do to increase it? And all that sort of stuff. To be honest, I'm probably not the best person to be asking this question, as I don't have a period and I don't know what you go through. So for a male to answer this question, it's a little bit off. So I'll just give my best advice for somebody that has low iron, but I'd strongly recommend seeing somebody like Ashleigh. Again, I think we even touch on that in the episode. We went over questions in that episode. So I think one of them was about low iron. So you can go back to Ashleigh's episode. Again, that is episode 230 if you want to go back and have a listen to that. Or literally work with somebody like Ashleigh. Like, obviously, I'm biased towards her because she's been on the pod. We're going to be working with you in the True Form protocol to help you do your bloods and all that sort of stuff moving on into the future as well. So, work with somebody like that. But again, like, if your iron's low and you're not doing anything to improve it is where the issue is, and you're going straight to the supplements. Like, obviously you want to focus on your nutrition. Like, what do you need to increase? Like, if you eat meat, like, are you eating red meat regular? Again, a lot of people are scared of red meat and it's going to kill you these days, but quality matters. Get good quality red meat. The stuff you get in the supermarket, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it's shit meat. I don't see that as quality. I don't even see that as meat. Go to a butcher and get a good quality butcher is going to have good quality meat. I can't stress that enough. The meat there is very different to the meat in the supermarket. So go to a butcher and get your meat from there. Eat meat, red meat regularly. If you're not a meat eater, you can still get iron from plant-based diets. I know several people that have enough iron, females, in their diet that have decent iron levels. Obviously, when your period comes around, it's going to drop a bit, and that's when you've got to pay a little bit more attention to it. But it can be done. Make sure you lift weights. Obviously, do exercise. Get some sunlight during the day. Some sunlight, not a lot. Like, all the healthy things that you should be doing are going to help combat that low iron. One big thing is obviously caffeine does inhibit your ability to absorb the iron. So, like, just watching when you're taking in caffeine, that includes teas as well. So watch your teas. Most teas have just as much caffeine as coffee. So just be mindful of that, eating around meals and that sort of thing. If your iron is low, like, you want to try and optimize the best opportunity to absorb the iron. So just watch the caffeine intake. Again, I'm not an expert on this, so that's just my opinion, but focus on your health, eating good quality foods, exercise, like actually lift weights, strength train, I should say. A little bit of sunlight, sleep, obviously. Make sure you're sleeping right. Obviously, when it comes to, when your iron is low, you feel like shit. So just make sure you're getting enough sleep. That's a lot easier said than done. I know that, but whatever sleep, as I always say, whatever sleep you are getting, make sure that sleep is good. You're going to sleep. So whether it's 2 hours or 20 hours, you're going to sleep. So just make sure whatever hours you are sleeping, they are the best you can possibly get. Cold, dark room, no screens before bed. Try to eat a couple of hours before you go to bed. Limit water before, about an hour before bed, all that sort of stuff. The stuff you know what to do it so you get a good night's sleep. That's going to obviously help you absorb iron during the day as well. But yeah, go back, check out episode 230. All right, next one. Is it hard to build muscle as you grow older, as our metabolisms and recovery slow down? No. Not the answer you were expecting. Like, obviously, when you're 20, it is very easy to build muscle, lose body fat, all that sort of stuff compared to when you're 40. Yes, we know that. It does get harder, as I'll explain in a second. And for those listening, I'm using quotation marks when I say harder. But it is like you can still build muscle any age you're at. Male, female, I don't care what the studies, what people say. I have clients 60 plus that are female that build muscle, build strength, move better than some of my clients when they're 20. So it does not matter what age you are. It just takes time, effort, consistency, and focus, and you will build muscle. Like, that's just how it is. Like, I don't know how to explain that anymore, but I know I feel like people almost use this as an excuse. I'm getting older, so I can't build muscle. You can, as long as you focus on good quality training, food, sleep, and honestly, you're going to build muscle, whether you're male, female, whatever age you're at, you will build muscle. And I can guarantee that because I do it with my clients. One of my clients who's 60 plus, she's probably the fittest client I've ever had. And again, I've had clients that are 19-year-old athletes, males. And I reckon she would smash them in any workout that I'd give them. Like, again, and she's 60 plus, female. So she could do it. Anybody else can. Again, when it comes to, is it hard? It's just your definition of hard. Like, I don't see going to the gym, building a routine, eating healthy food, trying to improve your sleep as hard. I see it as something you need to do so you can live a long, healthy, happy life. And yes, there might be some sort of things that are stopping you from doing that, and that's okay. It's not necessarily hard. It's just you have to work around it to then achieve it. But just get into the gym, lift weights regularly, do a bit of cardio on other days. And that could just be a walk. It could be a run. It can be jump on a machine. I don't really care. Like, just build that routine. Again, jump on the True Form protocol. That's all built in. So again, I'm pumping it up a bit, but I combine what days you should be doing cardio, how much weight you should be doing, and we go through different phases. In some phases, we're doing more cardio than lifting. In others, we're doing more lifting than cardio. But that's how it should be throughout the year, throughout your life. Like, sometimes you focus on other things, and other times you focus on strength or cardio. Like, that's just how it is. So just following a routine, making sure you're utilizing the time you spend in the gym properly. Again, as I spoke about from Tom's episode, if you're in the gym working out, work out. Don't just sit there fluffing around and this and that and I lift a little bit of weight and don't put much effort in. Like, if you're dedicating time to doing something, do it right. Like, get in there and give it some, lift heavy relative to your abilities, all that sort of stuff. If you're not sure how to do that, again, that's probably not where online training is good for you. Jump in with a personal trainer or a coach and learn how to train properly. I can't stress that enough. Go back and listen to Tom's episode. But no matter what age you're at, male, female, you can build muscle, you can get stronger. I don't care what the studies show. I have seen it with my own eyes, with my own clients. So, yeah. If our muscles are sore from the gym session, should we stretch those muscles or let them heal first? And we got another question about stretching? Anyway, I think stretching is kind of useless in recovery sort of senses, that sort of thing. If stretching feels good, do it. Like if your muscles are sore and you go and stretch and then you feel less sore, it's only a positive. Like there's no, like, again, studies and all that sort of stuff show, like some studies show there's a lot of benefits, some show there's not. It just comes down to what feels good for you and what you like doing. So if you like stretching, like I like doing yoga, I'll do 1 to 3 yoga sessions a week, just following a 10 to 15 minute stretching routine on YouTube, like literally just a follow along video. I like that. I feel good afterwards. Again, I don't know what benefits I get from it, but I feel good afterwards. And that's the main benefit. So I feel less sore. I feel like I can move better, less stiff, all that sort of stuff. So that's what we're going for. But you can insert anything in there. So if your muscles are sore and you want to foam roll and foam rolling feels good for you, go and do it. Like there's no downside to feeling better. Like sauna, ice bath, walking, little bit of light cardio, whatever makes you feel less sore and feel better so you can train, go and do it. Like obviously, if you're really sore and then you go and train again on top of that and you're just compounding stresses on stresses on stresses, then you're going to run into some sort of like overtraining, stress, fatigue, injury, that sort of stuff. So just, again, when it comes to recovery, whatever feels good for you and is going to get you back in the gym sooner, training or running outside sooner, do that. Don't worry about all the studies and what you see online. Just, you do you. What feels good. How do I make... okay, good question. This one, probably another rant, but let's get into it. How do you actually make time for everything? Fitness, eating well, relationships, work, without burning out or dropping the ball on some things that are important? Good question. When you find out, let me know. I think this is just part of life. Like, I don't think you're ever going to have time for all the above. And if you do, that's awesome. And again, go out and teach people how you've done that, because I don't think you're going to be able to do all of them well. That's why, I get all these guests on the podcast so I can try and improve every little aspect. But again, like this question says, like, you're going to drop the ball on some and while you're focusing more on others. And that's okay. Like, just trying to think of an example. So let's just use strength training and cardio. Like sometimes you're going to focus more on strength and build your strength up. Your cardio, you're probably just going to be doing minimal efforts, just a little bit, just to make it, say you've done a little bit of cardio. And, then you're going to find your strength and your muscle mass and all that sort of stuff goes up, and that is awesome. But then one day you're walking up a set of stairs and you're out of breath and you're like, ooh, that wasn't a big set of stairs, but I'm out of breath and I need to take a moment to catch it. Then you need to focus on your cardio and bring that back up a little bit. So you're going to bring that strength down. Like you're not going to focus on your strength as much, but because you've already built that big, strong base, it's already there. And you're just going to build the cardio up to the next, like build that cardio back up to a good level. And then you can focus on the strength, then the cardio, strength, cardio. So it's the same with relationships, all that sort of stuff. Like eating well, I think there's like eating well, you're going to eat food. Like within the next 24 hours, you are going to eat something, I assume, unless you're doing some sort of long fast or something like that. So why not make it the best food that you can eat? So when it comes to things you're going to be doing, you're just going to make better choices there. So I don't think you should stress too much about that. Like obviously, again, like I spoke about with Tom's episode of, being healthy is a skill. So you might have to spend a little bit more time learning on what foods to choose, where to find them, how to cook them, how to make them taste good, how to prep them, all that sort of stuff. So you might have to spend a little bit of time there, but once you've spent that time, you understand it, you've built those habits, you don't need to continue working on them. It's already there. So you can move to relationships and start building those relationships. And once you've built a good solid base of friends, intimate relationships, kids, wife, all that sort of stuff, once you've built that to a level, like obviously it's okay to build a good relationship with your wife or partner or whoever you want to be with, and let things go a little bit. We always say that, like when you get in a relationship, you let things go a little bit, but that's okay. Like you're building a relationship that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. So why not just let those other things go a little bit? You can get them back again. Just do the minimum you can. Again, you're probably going to be eating and sleeping, so why not focus on them, make them the best possible things you can, because you're going to do them anyway. But just focus on relationships a little bit more than exercise. Who cares if you can't see a 6-pack or an 8-pack for a little while you're building a relationship that you're going to have for the rest of your life? I think that's a good trade-off. Like again, having an absolute rip 6-pack isn't going to make that relationship any better or worthy or deep and meaningful. Like, so just let that 6-pack go a little bit, work on the relationship. And then like once you know that person, once they know you, you can relax, and they got your back, you've got their back, all that sort of stuff. You can start focusing on that fitness a little bit more and take that little bit of energy away from that. And they'll be okay with that because they know that you're going to achieve that goal or do work on yourself and be a healthier person. So it's okay to have that imbalance and balance is what I'm trying to say there. Again, I don't know if I'm right there. So if you've got an opinion on it or if you've figured it out, let me know. All right, last one. Body symmetry. This one's from Bradley. He's always stressing that one bicep's bigger than the other. Don't have to worry, Bradley. They're big. They're both big. All right, body symmetry. How to avoid different size muscles and does it matter? Or more dominant side, so more strength on one side than the other. This is a good question. Everybody freaks out about this. I don't know why it's such a big issue. Like obviously if you're stepping onto a bodybuilding stage, then symmetry matters. If you're a bodybuilder and you're listening to this, then this does not apply to you. I'm going to assume there's probably no bodybuilders listening to this. This is just general public, myself included. You're going to have imbalances and it does not matter. Like strength imbalances, I'll get to in a second, they matter a bit more, but if one bicep's a little bit bigger than the other bicep, who cares? It's not going to change anything. I don't think muscle imbalances matter too much. Strength imbalances, a different story. So I'll start with what you should do in the gym. So there's two ways of thinking about this to improve your imbalances. One way is to do the weaker side first, do as many reps as you can on that one side, and then you match it on the stronger side. Obviously, you're going to the limit on the weaker side and doing as many possible reps as you can. And then on the strong side, it's probably going to feel like it's absolutely nothing. You're going to get to, say, 10 reps and you're going to be like, well, that was nothing. But you're trying to work out those imbalances. So you're working that weaker side a lot harder than the stronger side. Other way of looking at it is, and both, I don't think there's one right or wrong way of doing this. I think both work. And both of these come from sources of people that I trust with training as well. I'll probably swing more on this side of probably trying to get imbalances. I think this probably works a little bit faster in building strength in that imbalance, is doing the stronger side first. So if you're doing a bicep curl, just keep it super simple. So your right arm is strongest. So you're going to do your right arm and max out and you get to 20 reps on that bicep curl. On the weak side, you're probably only going to get to 10 bicep curls before you need to stop. You have a quick rest and then you keep going. Quick rest, keep going. So you might do 10 reps and then have it like literally 5 to 10 second rest. Do another 5 reps, have a 5 to 10 second rest. You might only get 3 and then you finish off and do those extra 2. So again, both ways are sort of coming around and getting the same result, but it's just you're still working that weaker side to the absolute limit and the stronger side. So which way is better? I don't know. Just try whichever way works best for you, that you get the best connection, get the best, I guess, again, you want to be working hard in the gym. So if you like the first way first, do that. If you like the second way, do that. Now, when it comes to actual training, you shouldn't be always doing, say, again, bench press, you're using a barbell. Like if you're using a barbell, that's a fixed thing that your stronger side's probably going to do a little bit more work than your weaker side, and you're going to be compensating whether you realize it or not. So that's where maybe dumbbell bench press will come in handy, because you can keep it looking the same, feeling the same. You can do single arm dumbbell bench press, like do 10 on one side, 10 on the other, or do the max out method like I just told you. But again, not to talk out the truth on protocol too much today, but that is built into the workout program. So your workout program shouldn't all be fixed bars. It shouldn't be always be dumbbells. There should be a mix of both. So it should be a mix of like every different machine. So you're working your muscles in a wide range of different movements. Like maybe it's a similar exercise, so like a bench press. You could do push-ups, dumbbell bench, incline bench, cables, all that sort of stuff. So it's the same exercise, but you're just working that muscle in a different stimulus. You give it an opportunity to like work single arm, so you can work on those imbalances, and then you go back to the barbell so you can push it a little bit more and get a bit more power. So that's all built into the program. So when I write in the program, I'm keeping this in mind, that if I just get you to do barbell bench for 12 months, you're going to have a lot of imbalances. So I know that, and this program is designed for the general public, not bodybuilders, all that sort of stuff. So you're going to be doing all those things in different planes of motion. So again, if you're got a massive imbalance and you're training and it's not getting any better, this is probably where the intent of the program comes in. So follow a good program online, or go and see somebody in person so they can help you make sure that each side is looking good, even, all that sort of stuff. But again, as I said to Bradley when he asked this question, if you do 30 reps of the bicep curls in the gym, that's not going to be enough to sort out that imbalance. Like you're doing something within your day-to-day life that is causing that imbalance. So I see it a lot of time with people that work at computers. Their mouse hand gets a lot stronger and a lot more injuries because they're using it a whole lot more than their other arm. So like 8 hours of just using your mouse is a lot more than just doing 30 bicep curls in the gym. So again, it's you're doing something in your day-to-day life that is going to cause that imbalance, and it's hard to combat that unless you change the habit that is causing that imbalance in life, not in the gym. Again, like if you spend 8 hours stepping or doing one thing on that one leg, you're not going to combat that with 30 squats in the gym. So have a look at what you're doing in your day-to-day life that is causing that imbalance. Honestly, as a human living life in a normal way, you're going to have imbalances. I wouldn't stress too much unless it's starting to cause some sort of strength imbalance, which can cause injuries, pain, all that sort of stuff. But as long as you're following a good program and going to the gym regularly, being consistent, I don't think it's going to be an issue. But most of my clients that do have imbalances but still go to the gym regularly, it's not an issue. They got those imbalances, but they're strong. Their bodies can move around it. They know how to move weight, power, all that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to stop talking on that topic and leave you guys alone. That is the last question. Again, big thanks to everybody that submitted the question. Big thanks to all the guests that have been on the podcast. Love you all. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being here. And I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye.